Mallory Terry, wow, that's not what I thought. Cranford, New Jersey. Next.
Whoever loses, class of
Gray Webster, Leslie.
Long Tower, New Jersey.
Kate Rogers, class of 2010.
Wow.
Tim Gaines, class of 70, Nashville, Tennessee. And that's where I lived when I came to school.
Hi, I'm Susan, and I'm from Nashville.
Weird Clayton, class of 73, in Upper Reading, Pennsylvania.
Andy Carrigan, class of 1987. I came from taking cases for Philly. Just went back to Philadelphia.
Brett Fortune, class of 1986, currently in Baltimore, Maryland, just moved from Richmond, Virginia.
Michael Craig, class of 86.
Sharon Days, class of 86, in Seattle, Washington.
One of the things that we do every month when we get together every couple months, because we start every meeting having an opportunity to continue our brotherhood. So this little introduction that we did today is just really representative of what we did. We keep the brotherhood that was formed here on the year that we were here, and we keep it going. So every month we have an agenda, we have topics that we want to cover. We never lose sight of what's most important, and that's each other. So I do appreciate you guys requiring a little bit of time. Find out a little bit more about what's happening in the association. Believe it or not, we do have one or two official pieces of business today. So we'll have a couple of motions, a couple things to talk about, and then I will turn it over to Lori and everyone who's in Lori. Then we're a little bit of time, so then we're going to open the floor. And then, of course, we'll be here for questions, and I see a slide, which I'm currently covering in 2 minutes or 20. So we'll see. So just to kind of get started. So what have we done this year? What are some of our accomplishments? Every year in August, I meet Ned for breakfast. It's usually either at my house or somewhere else, and we talk about what's the plan or what are some of our goals for the boys. And this year, it's really about meeting the boys where they are. So as alumni in the association, we have to kind of figure out how do we tie into those goals? How can we support those goals? You know what? We've had a really good year. And this is our first time back on campus. And we've had a really good year. And so we're going to talk about just what were some of those things that we did. So I'm always supported by Lori. And Lori always makes sure that I'm prepared. I have information and data, which I support. So a couple of things that we did this year. We knew we couldn't be together, and we took advantage of Zoom meetings and team meetings. Now, if you do that all day at work, that certainly can lead to some Zoom fatigue. But we're certainly fortunate because some of our masters of ceremony, the very Stu Brackett, he's a little entertaining if you didn't already pick up. And he has hosted several Zoom meetings. And I was really trying to bring together brotherhood and affinity groups. You'll hear more about affinity groups a little bit later, but really trying to make sure we match the two. Last year, our biggest Zoom meeting was for the wrestling Zoom, and it was well over 100 classmates, alumni, participated from around the world. From around the world. It was definitely affirming. The brotherhood was alive and well. And I'll say that there was even a couple of tears. I was actually a little surprised. But it was really a good time when we learned something. While being back on campus is where we want to be, the campus has really spread. Our alumni have really grown, and they're not just from the Exton tri-state area, they're actually from all around the world. So as an alumni association, we have to think about how do we make sure we build inroads back to this campus, either being here physically or virtually. So I'm proud of some of the accomplishments we've actually done this year, and just a couple of them to list. There was the military Zoom that was hosted by Stu. We had the track Zoom. That was a lot of fun. Stu posted that, and I remember Stu posing the question to me, he said, "So, Mr. Zimmerman, and what was your experience with the track?" And I said, "Well, I walked down there one day, and I had this pole over my hand. And I tried it once and went right up to tennis. And that was my experience with the track. I have other gifts to offer, and that was not one. So we also did one thing a little bit different to really try to create more engagement in our meetings. Special guests. Making sure that we took the opportunity to bring some of the talented administrators to our meetings to share all the great work that's going on in the school. So we have the assistant head of school, Margaret Van Steeman. She was one of our guest presenters. We have the director of athletics, Sue Blackwell, was here as well. And then the dean of residential life, Latifah, was with us and helped us really understand how the school navigated COVID. More on that later tonight, but it really was miraculous what the school was able to accomplish. And those were some of the big, oh, you know what, it can't be the others. Okay, I'm gonna let it be. So one of our other things that we do collectively is we have an annual fund. An annual fund. I can tell you outside of my work with Church Farm School, I actually sit on the board of directors of the United Manchester. In the world of funding, it's highly competitive. And we've realized that they pull back from giving. People are giving in different ways. GoFundMe has kind of taken over the world of giving. Guess what? Not here at Church Farm School. You guys have risen to the occasion and really have contributed. So we get a goal every year. And if I have the numbers correct, so for this year, we have raised $200,000 collectively for this school. And that's about, is that 11% improvement? I don't want to get my math. I'm proud of it. That's all.
Yes.
11% total gain. So we do see that we had 114 alumni who supported our campaign. So if you want to just kind of really get to the numbers, 114. So what we're noticing is, while we haven't expanded as great as we would like to across the entire alumni base to give back, that's also not our only mission. But we do know that those who are giving more. And one thing that we also respond to are campaigns. Whenever we do a targeted campaign, I believe the chairs we're sitting on right now is a targeted campaign, right? The wrestling mats, the targeted campaign. So we know that when the school needs us, we rise to the challenge. So I did want to make sure it is one of our goals every year. The giving is one phase of what we do. Come back, look back, give back. Are kind of what we strive for. So well done. Appreciate everyone's commitment for that. And there's still time to be back. this year. But we won't be passing. Okay, this is the bylaw update. So we are pretty excited that we have a new position that we'd like to create in the Alumni Executive Committee. And it's called the Board Liaison. So this year, who's been nominated is Steve Looney, class of 97. Class of 97. And Steve's commitment to the school, that story is pretty well known. But what we'd like to do this year is amend our bylaws and add a new position to the Alumni Executive Committee in order to create that position. And then once we do a formal vote, then that will be now and there, right? We're going to change something else. So with that, okay. All right, so I'd like to make a motion to add and create the board position, a board liaison position to the Alumni Executive Committee. Second. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries.
So just to be clear, this is the position on the executive committee of the council. It's not a board position, it's somebody who's already on the board, being the liaison to the council.
Quick clarify. Yes.
Understood.
Amended.
All right, well, welcome everyone. I just wanted to share that we worked very, very hard trying to create a succession plan, and we're very, very excited for this upcoming term. I have to tell you, it is very difficult to have David lead the board at the position of board president. He has done so much these past 6 years. I don't think people have realized when Don Burke was in the position, he had served for 6 years. And the need was, we needed a new president. And Don and I went to David and said, please, please, will you consider this? This is our best opportunity to move the association forward. And after a little bit of heavy enrollment, David accepted the position under one. No, he said, it is for one term only. I will not serve another term. And lo and behold, 3 years later, we went back to him and we said, David, I respect whatever decision you make, but we're going to be going into a capital campaign and we need your leadership. We've done so much. Will you do that? And he accepted for another 3 years. And we've continued to build this alumni association. More alums have been engaged than ever. As you can see, the alumni participation and the alumni giving has increased. Our young alums are coming back. I mean, even this weekend, we have more alums from the classes from 2009 through 2021. We have well over 25 alums registered to come back. And I think we have two of them. Well, I guess Kylie and Kenneth Rogers were down for having lunch, but it is just really, really exciting. So we are also work very diligently to have this plan in place for the next several years, and we are absolutely thrilled that Steve Chop will be taking over as president. And Steve is class of 2002. He has been involved with the association pretty much since we reorganized. And so he is very well equipped to connect with the younger alums and the older alums. So we are absolutely thrilled to have him as our president. So Steve, I don't know if you'd like to add.
Not to be here and support the community. And I've learned a lot from the department for working on so I would love to see that.
Thank you, brother.
And we have another seasoned veteran as our vice president. It is Todd Elliott, and Todd will be with us this afternoon, and will be with us this evening. He had another commitment. And David he's not going very far. He will continue or transition his role as president emeritus. So he is going to be a great mentor to Steve, and of course, Steve will be able to figure his own way and get feedback from the alums what we want to see, because as you know, we are continuing to transition through the pandemic, and there's a lot of great, there are wonderful things that came out as far as like the way that we can communicate with the alums and the Zoom and meetings and things like that. So David will be a great resource. And then we had decided Steve Loney will be transitioning as the board liaison, as Ed mentioned, is somebody serving on the schools board, but will actually be able to take things to the board members, like relating from the Alumni Association. It's just another avenue for us there. Stu Bradley, class of 62. He is going to, Stu, you can be acknowledged if you want. Stu has been, as everybody knows, Stu has been a huge help with all alumni. Anything you ask Stu to do, Stu does it, and does it immediately and 110%. And we couldn't be without him, I tell you. He is Mr. CFS.
Thank you.
Gordon Schleicher, class of 62. Gordon, he is going to be joining as a member at large as well. He is going to be heading up, we are going to be working in some affinity groups, and he will actually be overseeing like a faith-based affinity group. Gordon is a retired Methodist minister, so we welcome Gordon. Don Burt, who could not be with us today, he is actually in Florida for his wife's birthday. So he will be transitioning from president emeritus to member at large. Christopher Gibbs, I don't think Christopher arrived yet, but he is remaining on the board as a member at large. And I am very, very, very thrilled to announce that Akasha Shabazz, who currently works at the school, class of 2015, he is not here with us today because he is getting his master's degree from the University of Pennsylvania. And he actually oversees the alumni success program here at the school, or helps to be the coordinator, he and Tiffany Scott. And I help out with that as well, but the two of them are the huge leaders in that regard. So it is so wonderful to have somebody so young and so engaged, and to sort of bring that program along. And that was one of Todd's passions. So it'll be great that he can work with Todd. So that is your incoming list of officers for the next 3 years, and I am always excited to work with anybody. I have to say that, like, we also have other positions, like, just because you might not be on the Alumni Executive Council, we always need volunteers. So please, if there's something that interests you, please let us know. We're thinking about a military affinity group, and Aida, graduate of West Point, it would be nice to have this input too. So, and for all those who serve in the military, thank you very much for your service. So I guess that is my portion, and does anybody have any questions or? Hey, I'm going to turn it over to Ned.
Thank you, Lori. Good
everyone. It's great to have you back. We're here for today's scholars for sure. But to have you come back to take a look around, get a sense of today's school, and celebrate that with us, not only your time and your sense of brotherhood, but to bring that to our view. We're sorry that there's still some separation that we're maintaining between the scholars. There's some interaction, but to some degree, we're also trying to keep them a little bit removed. We're 2 weeks away from graduation, and we want every senior to be able to walk across the stage with his diploma, not be stuck in a quarantine situation. So a little bit on that as we go on, but it's just great to have you all back. I'll celebrate things tonight at dinner, a couple of inductees, our athletic hall of fame, lots of things, our hall honor, lots of good things to do. But I thought I would just take a few minutes to talk just about a few topics related to the state of the school today. But before doing that, I want to say that Andy Kerrigan is a member of the board of directors, and Dave was just elected last Tuesday to serve on the board. So I think that brings us to 4 members of the alumni body on the board of directors. So there's good presence, good continuity, good sense of what it is that Church Farm School is all about. Its mission, its tradition, but also where it wants to go, and how we can distinguish between what is really the baby and what's math one. What are the things that we can change, and what are those things that are indelible, and we want to make sure that we maintain. So that's a lot of our time together. This is what I have in mind, just to talk a little bit about our work through COVID. And I thought I would talk about our strategic plan. We're very much a living document that's guiding our work, and conclude a little bit with our financial health and a little bit about diversity, equity, inclusion, things that are helping propel us forward. So don't want to take up too much time, but COVID, as I said, is still with us. In the spring of 2020, over that spring break, we were just getting, before we left for spring break, we were getting word about how the pandemic is spreading. Every student has a laptop. The school provides other sort of materials, and we sent them home on spring break, making sure that they had that with their power cord and with their materials, right? Sort of as they went off, because we didn't know what was going to happen. Lo and behold, we were shut down, as was the whole country. And that is how 2020 concluded. We were pushed off the cliff into the deep water. It was all about online learning. And while we had been experimenting with that, we were blessed with a lot of good technology. All of a sudden, it was wholesale. We had to do it. It wasn't just experimental anymore. And so everybody was really clamoring to catch up to speed, not only on just what it meant to have your course plan, if you're a faculty member, but how to narrow that, how to really focus that, how to deliver that in short bites that were sort of digestible in an online environment somewhere else. And make sure that that scholar had a connection. There were probably about a little bit more than half a dozen that we sent cell phones to, so they could use that as a hotspot to stay connected with us through their learning. So I wouldn't say it was seamless, it was pretty bumpy. But we did manage to graduate the class of 2020 virtually. That group still does not have an end-of-year experience in their pocket the way that many do at school. I'm doing that. We're still probably a little bit of ways to try to figure out what to really do about that. But maybe next year's alumni dinner will make a real push to get many of them back for a little bit of recognition for what they missed out on in doing that. By the fall, we were trying to open a little bit more on campus. The virus was still pretty much prevalent here in Chester County, especially. And in meetings with our colleagues, faculty, staff, it was clear that they were very sensitive about it, didn't really want to open. Certainly with a lot of in-person learning, just weren't there yet. So we compromised and went to all online learning for the first semester. There are about a third of our scholars who did come back to campus at the end of September. So they started learning virtually. But then September, by the third came back into cottages. They were confined to those cottages. We all operated by cottage cohort. And they learned in the cottage when they came for meals and were able to do things out on the athletic fields as a cottage through Thanksgiving, up until Thanksgiving, when they went home and stayed out again until the beginning of February. So we started the second, ended the first semester, no pageant, no typical December events, Christmas events. Started the second semester virtually again, and opened the cottages at the beginning of February, and 2/3 of the student body came back, and we were in a hybrid situation. So the classrooms were now open. All the learning still had an online version. Every teacher had a camera in their room. All the students half got online, maybe a quarter online, depending on the class. And that's how that went. The good news was that the class of 2021 was able to graduate here on campus. And that third that stayed home came back that morning, tested, negative test, allowed them to walk. Fortunately, everybody tested negative. So that's how things, went over that first full year of COVID. And we were determined to open this year completely on campus, completely in the classroom. The only way to do that was to benefit of the vaccine, so we required the vaccine of everybody, every adult, every scholar, and doing that. And I know that that plays in different parts of the country in different ways, but for here, as a residential school, we felt that was essential for us to really sort of help guarantee the health of everyone, at least their well-being if anybody contracted the virus. Probably 2 or 3 students did not return, and a couple of members of the staff did not return as well. Don't know if all of that was just COVID related, coincidental, but certainly the pressures of that probably played a part in some of that decision making. This year, also, when the booster became available, we required that. Maintain a full vaccination status, and so we've done that through the first booster. The second booster is optional, and most are taking advantage of that. So that's sort of how COVID played out. We're looking forward to graduating everybody in a couple of weeks, as I said. After this winter, we had our biggest impact from the virus. About maybe 40 to 50 people contracted it, between scholars and adults. And St. Martin's, we had closed enrollments down a little bit. That was in our favor. So we kept St. Martin's closed as a quarantine cottage. And we used that pretty extensively from January instead of one time there were between 2 and a dozen scholars in there, just quarantining, doing their work, and doing what they needed to do to try to keep the rest of us safe. Those who are close by, we asked parents to come get them and take them home for that to take place. So we think that went pretty well. We all got tired of that. Obviously, parents who are working a couple of jobs, trying to get here at a moment's notice, pick up their son, became problematic for a couple of them. We made some concessions to walk away when we had space to do that. But on the whole, I would say it worked out pretty well. Something none of us chose, but we all have to deal with that. It's an international problem, a million deaths in our country alone. So we're doing that. So it's something that we wanted to take very seriously, and we continue to do that. We thought we were pretty much out of the woods after spring break this year. No positive tests. We were testing weekly, things like that. So we relaxed the mask mandate. Cottages could sort of be a little bit looser. The scholars could be looser. We were taking some trips into town. But just this past week now, we've had probably about a dozen positive test results. So it's back. That's that we want to be careful. So again, you've heard a lot about COVID. This is how Church Farm School did it, how we sort of managed. I really want to thank my administrative team, joined by the head of the food and janitorial services, the head nurse, and our head education person. I was the group that met bi-weekly the last 2+ years. This So that's just how we've been managing COVID. Like everybody else, we're praying that it would be gone. It's gonna just keep dissipating as it does. But hopefully next year will be a little bit more regular. It's the word normal. It's the word regular. More to the real good stuff about what's happening at school. Sort of our strategic plan. This is something the board adopted a couple of years ago. Really is sort of predicated on student success. Everything we do, every investment that we have, every resource we have at our disposal is really oriented to the success of the young person and their future, their development. And so I'm always reminding colleagues as well about that. And so, as Dave mentioned, our theme for the year is meeting with where they are, but it's all about that opportunity to grow and to really identify, unlock the potential that each young man has. There's a lot of discovery here about themselves, about their wherewithal, and even about the possibility of creating something big and where they can go to do those types of things. So, in that, we've developed a profile of a church farm school graduate. That's online, sort of see that, but a lot of things that we want them to keep holding that in front of them to say, this is where you're going. These are the standards that we're really hoping that you'll develop. And they're broadly stated, globally responsible, ethically minded, good communicator, strong in themselves, things like that, and what that identifies. The other sort of big part of that is a college success story. The average tuition paid is not that far from what it was paid in 1960. A couple members of that class here, the average tuition paid in 1960 was $300. So I bet you can Google that this winter. I was doing a presentation for our colleagues. And I said, the average tuition paid today is just under $2,900. The value of $300 in 1960 is up to $2,800. So we're pretty much right there in terms of sort of mission and sort of contributions to the school, kind of deviated from the financial model that Colonel had. So today, what we ask for tuition is about anywhere between 12 and 50% of our total operating budget. Say a little bit more about the financial health of the school. But so those types of things are really good. And so everything about sort of college success as well is to get them into the 4-year undergraduate program. And then they can contribute. At the end, not everybody's doing that. But really, in reality, 99% of our boys are enrolling in particularly college, and we're about an 85, 86% graduation rate in 4 to 6 years. And so Tiffany and Natasha, who already just mentioned, are doing a great job staying in touch with our graduates. We can't give them a whole lot of financial help, or much at all, but a lot of sort of emotional encouragement, being there for a close by, we can go get to them, take them out to dinner, so that they don't really sort of have a little bit of help along the way, given all the challenges that they have to organize and to stay financially secure as they go along. So that is a big part of our student success program. Obviously, if you were here earlier today, you learned a lot about what we're doing in the curriculum through our middle space accreditation. So I'll let that be maybe a way to close some of that a little bit later on. The second pillar of the strategic plan is distinctive identity. Quite a unique school about doing that. We've also been working on ways to market that. How do you take that into the marketplace today? Identify a particular young man who might benefit from the church's farm school experience. So we've been working with the digital marketing firm and really trying to put together an image of the school that is looking for a young man who is in a situation, whether it's their geographic environment, home environment, or even a scholastic environment, and they're not quite achieving to their potential. They're not going to be the captain of the team or even a member of the team. They may not even sort of have the opportunity. So to come to a little bit smaller program is then to sort of discover themselves and to find their way and to be enriched by the smaller school environment. And to really sort of put them on the path to great success, self-identity, and how those types of things will work. So a lot of marketing has gone into that, a lot of sort of investment has gone into that. And it's starting to sort of have some success. We're starting to see applications from a variety of places around the country. We're hoping to expand that internationally as well, to sort of see what's out there and balance of that. Our demographics were about 93% students of color today. We're looking to sort of have a few more Caucasian white students back into the school enrollment, and also some not only geographic diversity, but certainly as we sort of go along with that, a little bit of economic diversity. Few kids who might be able to pay a tuition as we go along. And if you meet Kaida's brother, Kenneth, who is from the class of 09, he's actually running the Episcopal School in Los Angeles. He's got a school there. And the same thing, they're trying to blend students from Beverly Hills and from the University of Los Angeles at a day school. So Church Farm School certainly an influence on Kenneth and his trajectory, and trying to do similar things on both coasts as we do some of those types of things. So that's part of our work, is to reach out and find scholars who will identify some along those lines. Organizational excellence is what we're trying to do internally, making sure that there's a good professional development of our adults. Probably had about 5 adults earning degrees in the last few years, doctorates, as we go with education, but also accountability, making sure that our performance reviews and things like that, that the scholars are involved in helping reflect on their experience with us, so that we can get I wonder if did you all have a voice that sort of assessing faculty members when you were here? In terms of doing that? The times have changed a little bit, right? I'm a little sensitive to that. So here's it's true. Where's your answer? Well, to take these relationships very seriously, right? Our ability to connect with young people, their ability to feel that connection, really serves as a testament to their growth. So that's all part of that engagement, and they're taking that agency of who they are, where they're going. The Untitled campus is straightforward. We're here to celebrate the track this time around. Just quickly, a couple of views. Here's an image that you're familiar with, South Campus at the heyday, the earlier days. Of course, the iconic view of the chapel, things like that. And everything in red is a proposed addition to the South Campus, is where our attention is going as we sort of move along. The one thing to say about this is that we just entered into a partnership with a local developer who's a nationally recognized community developer, the Henke Group. And we're really looking forward to the fact that they will be able to help us build faculty residence on the south side of the campus, attached to cottages and independently. So that environment that you remember of the faculty living on Sweetsburg Road actually is going to move here right behind the chapel alongside the cottages. So that we're a true boarding school, all living together in community, dining together, certainly while school's in session, a lot more sort of involvement rather than the faculty departing at the end of the day, they'll be accessible and helping monitor the well-being and the continuing education of young people. So there's a little bit better view of these. Again, one architect's vision. You'll see the north side on top. That you're getting familiar with the new entrance. Maybe trying to find a way around from that, get your bearings. But the same will be true on the south side, and just pulling an entrance where the traffic light on Boulevard is to make things safer. We'll probably pull that road further behind so that all the housing will be inside the corridor of the road rather than having a roadway intersecting with pedestrians trying to get to faculty hall. So that's still out there, but I'm hopeful that within 2 years, we might see some of this come to fruition as we sort of go along. So that was just a quick, sort of, that's that. And as you all know, all of this is powered by philanthropy. We're excited about some of the more micro-oriented efforts or specific things that really has impressed the alumni body, brought you back in relationship with one another, as well as your sense of those things that matter to you, that help lift you when you were students here, whether that was academic programs, athletic programs, residential life, all of that kind of thing. That's where really makes good sense to us. So we're using everything that we learned in COVID, connecting with one another, even through Zoom or Microsoft Teams. Doing that allows us really to engage a lot more effectively than we had prior to all of this. A quick word just on the financial health of the school. Our operating budget this year is $11 million. And ideally, we'd like to be a student body about 180 to 200. We started the year with 140 scholars, as I said. St. Barnes, we kept this quarantine cottage. The international component came to 0. I got one Greek student in school today who's graduating, so we're looking to rebuild that and get that population going again and work the school out a little bit as we sort of go along. During COVID, the school maintained its full employment load as well as the auxiliary staff. We actually hire out to Sodexo, who does our janitorial and kitchen work, but we kept everybody on board there, even when we were shut down all those lengths of time that I've been speaking about. We wanted to keep everybody employed, we wanted to keep everybody whole, and the board stepped up and supported that, even though we were running a higher deficit than we now has to cover. We did get $1 million PPP loan in the first year. We had rights to access the second, which we turned down because we felt that given where the endowment was and how we were managing things, that was probably a better look for us than 2024, and we actually needed that second time around. Certainly, the government programs helped us out that first time. We benefited greatly from that. The other things to say about the endowment itself is that it's done quite well, notwithstanding this first quarter of this year. But I came here 13 years ago. That was just after the 07 and 08 demise collapsed. And the endowment had gone from about 140 million in value to below 90 in that period of time. So when I arrived on paper, its value was below 90. So today, it actually, by the December, got close to 180 million on paper. And all that time, we spent 84 million, almost what it was worth on paper when I got there. So you talk about a resource that's kind of produce that late golden egg. It's this endowment and try to take care of it, manage it well. We're still drawing at a rate that's higher than most advisors would tell you. We're probably around 5.5%, sometimes 5.8%. Most want us to be at 5 or lower. That's the board's target. And certainly through COVID and things like that, we're doing what we should be doing again for the sake of our scholars first and foremost, but then the adults around them that can care for them. So that was true of everybody in the cottages, everybody in the classrooms, and that's how we're going. Over that period of time also, when I got here, the cottages were cared for by a single person, and then 2 cottages shared a second person, we call a floater, who went back and forth. Today, every cottage has 2 people, as well as a faculty member, 2 faculty members who come to the cottage once a week as affiliate. So there are 4 adults in each cottage with their eyes on what the kids are doing and what they're doing as they sort of go on. The other thing just to say about the health of the school is that I presented to the faculty and staff also that among the independent schools in our region, which is one of the most expensive in the country, we try to target our positioning at 75% of the median. So we're to 75% of where other schools are in total compensation. So the mean is at 50%. So if you take half of the schools, they're at a certain level, and we're at 75th percentile. There are other schools like Hill or Lawrenceville or Penn Charter downtown, things like that, that have more resources financially than we do. They're going to pay a teacher probably $10,000 or $12,000 more to get them there, and we might be here in doing that. But we're very, very competitive. We think that that resource puts us in a good place to attract quality teachers. So far, so good. Although right now, this is the marketplace, a lot of people are leaving education for other things, or just leaving the employment courses altogether and doing that. So I would say that the financial health of the school is quite secure. One thing we're working hard on in philanthropy, as Dave said, we're getting good numbers, but we're hoping to increase the number of friends and numbers of alumni who are contributing. Matters less about how much, but the numbers that we can get those to increase, that helps greater philanthropy foundations to say 20% of your alumni body supporting you. That's a gold standard. We like that. If we have around 12 or 13%, then we have to sort of say why we haven't paid attention, that type of thing. So we show a little bit more of progress on both of those, the number of people joining sort of the school as friends of the school, as well as members of the alumni body. They'll look at parents too, but that is our package is quite different as we go along doing all that. So I'd say again that the health of the school is quite good. The last thing I want to do is that also, aside from electing Dave to the board of directors on Tuesday, the board had a task force over the past year on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and they put together this particular statement. Fort Church Farm School has its statement on diversity. We're going to prove this on Tuesday. So this is a start. This is a platform upon which more DEI work can develop in terms of what we want to do in a number of other areas. One of them might even be considering making the DEI rather than a task force a permanent committee of the board. There's lots to look after in this regard. It's not politicized at Church Farm School. It really talks about, in a sense, the beauty of every human being, starting sort of with our baptismal covenant to respect the dignity of every human being. And working into that is to say, what are the gifts of every person, no matter sort of where they are, how they identify themselves, what religion they are, they're a child of God, and to work that out on this campus of the Christian school is really important to us. And so this committee is then looking at that. How do we do that? How do we transmit that? How do we reflect the world and who we are, what we're trying to teach, where we see young people trying to go? And how does that really contribute to a democracy, to really sort of establishing good things about civic virtue? So that's our orientation to all of this. And you can see that this is not in the sense, it's a fairly general statement about where we go, but it focuses on two things: belonging and identity. That's for any person to navigate the world, have a sense of belonging, matter, you have an identity that can be contributed to this greater good. That's a great start. And then you can engage in critical conversations about the things that differ, the things that we share, and then we can build a platform from there. But we all want to be agents of justice in the end. And of God's love, I would submit, but we'll start with justice as well in this particular statement. So a lot of work is ahead of us. The strategic plan around DEI will probably emerge in the next year. And so there's great work that's being done on campus as well as the board to really keep us engaged with a global society. So that is my quick, under 20 minutes. We're just
I'm glad this is being filmed. I would like to know the camera. You can.
be on the clock.
I'll leave the end of the I hope you're finding your way around, like I said at the beginning, sort of doing all of that. I was happy to meet Jim, or reconnect with him a little bit earlier. He said, oh, yeah, you're the new guy. And I said, well, that's true. And you're right. So this is year 13. I said, I don't consider myself a new guy. In fact, it's all my fault. You know, if I be able to sort of say that too. So it's just great. It's fabulous to be here. My wife and I thoroughly enjoy the community and what we're trying to do on its behalf, so that the foreseeable future is in good shape. So thank you. And I'm happy to take questions, except for that.
One question. When do you expect to have the first track meet on that new track?
This spring of 23. So it starts construction probably in August, and maybe about 12 weeks to finish that. And it'll have the track itself should be fine. The field in the middle will all be sodded. Hopefully we can get that in by the beginning of November, so that we can play lacrosse in the spring as well.
Thank you.
Gordon?
Range of salaries.
Range of salaries. From the cottage level, the entry salary is probably around 24 to 25,000, right? Small. Highest salary is just below 90,000 for a faculty. So typically for a faculty, the range is in the low 40s to mid 70s. What we include with that is housing. So for us to be competitive with that, you know, we would have some who aren't in school housing might receive a stipend of another 12,000. So that makes us very competitive even with public schools, which are generously supported here at Chester.
Any other questions? Jen, anything that came into the webinar?
Not that I can see.
Okay. Well, listen, I certainly want to thank you for carving out some time today. Hopefully you found the information that was shared helpful about what's happening in your school. And then for the rest of your time here, I hope you enjoy being home. Hope you enjoy the story sharing. It's one of my favorite parts. And then I'll see you all there.
So before you go, there's one final small activity we're going to do. A presentation to our friend Dave Zimmerman. As you know, he's heading off as the president of the association. This is a nice picture of the scholarship at the chapel. Basically, it says, David F. Zimmerman, 88, with gratitude for your service for the last 6 years as president of the association. So thank you, Dave.
Well, you're gonna get some of that tonight, so you'll get some of that a little bit later, but I do want to thank you guys. It's just been amazing. This is something that just fills my bucket. At my stage of life, it's really just about finding your happy, and this is my happy. So thank you guys. This is wonderful. Enjoy the rest of the day. Can't wait to see you tonight, and let's have fun.
Use the track or the pavilion.